Hey, welcome to the Sideline Show. I'm Jake Berry alongside Mark May. And Mark, we're back for football. Another season. We're in studio finally. We didn't have a show last year, but we're back. And we've got 3 teams that made the playoff last year, and it's going to be a different year. Talk to me about this new district.
Yep, they've realigned every 2 years. The UIL does that across the state of Texas, and so the 3 McAllen teams are in a new district this year. They're still at the Class 5A level, but they've got some new opponents, some new faces in there, including a couple of heavyweights that are coming down from 6A, Edinburgh Vela and PSJA North. Vela might be the strongest team in the Valley this year on paper, so that'll be quite a force. And then the other teams that are in the district are 2 from La Jolla. We've got Palmview and Juarez Lincoln, and also Rio Grande City. So 5 new teams that come in to join the 3 McAllen teams. So it's an 8-team district, which means they'll get 3 non-district games. Remember, the last couple of years, it's only been 1 non-district game, which all 3 coaches, when we talked to them this week, said they felt this would be a bit of an advantage to get, some kinks worked out. A couple of them have some new quarterbacks, so that always gives them more time. So that's the kind of year we're looking at.
All right, and let's take a look at Nikki Rowe. Nikki Rowe, we had a chance to meet with them this week. What does their outlook look like?
Rowe looks pretty good. They were 7-4 last year, advanced to the playoffs. That was the 5th time in 6 seasons under Coach Robert Flores. They do have a new offensive coordinator. The offense coordinator the last several years, Sean Tarantola, has taken a head coaching job at Brownsville Lopez. So they have a kind of a new system there in offense that the players are trying to learn. Some new faces that are back, or old faces that are back. Nelson Ramirez at wide receiver also plays DB. Had 57 receptions last year and 3 picks. So he's a great two-way player. Had 10 touchdowns as well. And then Chris Zavala at running back had 11 touchdowns and 1,100 yards rushing. So we look for some big things from those guys also. Earlier this week, we talked to head coach Robert Flores, and here's what he had to say.
We had a good spring. We brought in a new offensive coordinator in Sam Friedman, so our offense is going to have a different look. So we're expecting them not to miss a beat. We had a scrimmage versus Mercedes, and so now our first test will be this week against Pioneer. Defensively, our defensive coordinator's back. They did a great job, and so those kids believe in what they're doing, and so they're just going to have some new guys fill in some of the spots that we had vacated. Obviously we lost some good kids from last year's team, So the linebacking core is going to have some new faces. We got Joe Gatz out there. We have Alejandro Navajar filling in those 2 spots that we're going to expect to come up, big and make some big plays. The mentality that we're taking is 1-0. That's what we talk about week in and week out, and we need to, take care of the opponent that we have week to week, and that's going to be important for us. Not just looking at, winning in the district championship, but I think if we can take care of each opponent that we have week to week, we'll put ourselves in a good position to compete for a district championship, and make the playoffs, because that's the ultimate goal. We want to not just make the playoffs, but make a run. But we have to understand that we can't be looking too far down the road without taking care of business week to week. So we tell our kids, just have that mentality. Let's focus, on the opponent that we have, and then getting better week to week on all phases of the game. On quarterback, we have 2 kids that have done a great job through the spring, and they're splitting some time. And Lance Salinas, a junior, and our senior Isaac Sotuyo. So they're splitting reps there, and Isaac also helps us out at the wideout, and so he's been a team player. So, there's a lot of guys that we're going to expect to come up, though I don't have enough time to say every name of them, but a lot of them that are going to have to fill in certain spots and do a good job for us next season.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. The memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. We put the balls in the brakes. I'm talking one chance at best, yes. Painting pictures for the culture, keep the brushes fresh. Flip the cover, work the drummer, passion never rests. Freedom is our teacher under pressure, now we blessed. See, I was so good for the go. There's one art, one shot, now the future is yours. Go! Yeah. It's one art, one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Well, the Warriors this week will open up on the road at Sherryland Pioneer.
All right, our next school that we're going to talk about is McAllen Memorial. Coach Patterson's 2nd year at the helm there. Mark, what do we know about McAllen Memorial, and what do their outlooks look like this year?
Looks pretty good. They've got 13 starters back from a team that went to the third round of the state playoffs last year. They were district champions, 11-2 overall. And Coach Moses Patterson, although only second year as head coach, he's been with the program for 13 years. So he knows all the players. He knows the system really well. That was proven last year. Their big star is going to be running back McAllen Choi. Memorial always seems to be loaded at running back, and this year will be no different. Alanis Choi last year rushing for 1,300 yards and about 17 touchdowns. Also, Thomas Domian at the offensive line might be the best offensive lineman in the entire Valley this year. They're looking for big things from him as well. But we talked to Coach Patterson, and here's what he had to say about this year's Mustangs.
Our goal every year has always been to be the best team in McAllen Memorial history, so that's our current team's goal as well. There's a process to everything that we do. There's some gelling that needs to occur, especially when you're adding new faces, new people to the mix. I think we got to continue to do what we've been doing. Obviously, we want to run the ball. We want to be physical on offense, physical on defense, create as many turnovers as we can, get the ball back to our offense.
Rose is going to score! It's another long-distance touchdown for the Mustangs!
It's no secret what we do. We try to control the clock, do that type of stuff, and keep other teams off the field, and that's going to be a big part of it. You know, we got to continue to learn, get better. We got to obviously continue working on our passing game. We know it's going to be a grind through the entire season going into district. We have no easy district games, we feel. I mean, you got the 3 McAllens, you got Rio, you got 2 La Joyas, and then you're adding new to the district for us, along with Rio, is PSJ North and Edinburgh Vela. So, you know, it'll be fairly tough. And then our non-district schedule, we got 6A, Brownsville Hanna first. We followed up with Mission Vets, who's perennial playoff team, and then our third non-district game is San Benito, who's, I mean, again, one-horse town, and they do a fantastic job over there too. So, you know, we're looking to try and be a better team. Well, we have a couple returning here. Quarterback's going to be J.P. Cortez. He's back again this year. You know, we got McAllen Choi. He's coming back. Fullback Gary Cortez. We got some others that are involved in the game. Sebastian Alamana is a young man that's been coming up. He's done a great job this offseason and in the scrimmage as well. You know, just be who we need to be. Not trying to be somebody else. Not trying to be another team or teams that have come through here in the past. It's all about being ourselves and you know, taking it one step at a time and week in and week out and going forward.
Turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. The memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. We put the balls in the brakes. I'm talking one chance at best, yes. Painting pictures for the culture, keep the brushes fresh. Flip the cover, work the drummer, passion never rests. Freedom is our teacher under pressure, now we blessed. See, I was so good for the goal. There's one art, one shot, now the future is yours. Go! Yeah. It's one art, one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
And the Mustangs are going to open up on the road. They're going to be playing a Class 6A team. That'll be the Brownsville Hanna Golden Eagles down at Brownsville's Sam's Stadium.
All right, and last but not least, Mac High. It's our only home game this week, and they're playing a school that I'm very familiar with, somewhere I spent 12 years, EHS, Edinburgh High School. Mark, talk to me about that game, but tell me about Mac High in general.
Well, you know, this is a rivalry that goes back decades. They're not in the same district anymore, but for many, many years they would be in the same district. You remember back when there was only one 5A district in the entire valley, and then they came in with 6A, and then we started splitting up schools in different years. But the Bulldogs and Bobcats, that goes back a long way. A lot of memories for the alumni of both schools. This year, the Bulldogs are coming off a playoff year, their first one in several years. It'll be fourth-year coach Patrick Shelby, and he's got 8 starters back from last year. And we talked to him earlier this week, and here's what he had to say about his team.
So last year we made huge strides here since I've been here at McAllen High School. You know, it was a special year for us. Our kids did extremely well. We ended the season at 8-3. You know, we had a lot of goals that we wanted to accomplish. I felt like we accomplished those with key players, starting with Hunter Curl at quarterback. You know, we were lucky to have him for 3 years. Now he's gone, so looking for that next young man to step in there and fill some big shoes.
Early, and this is going to be picked off. It's Otmers. He's at the 30. He's running it back, picks up some blocks, cuts inside at the 5. Touchdown Bulldogs.
The kids, everything that they had wanted to accomplish back in the spring, their junior year, they were able to accomplish those as a senior. So we were very proud of them. Off season, our kids got stronger, they got bigger. We got a new strength and conditioning coordinator and Coach Franz who implemented his plan, and we were able to work the plan this year. So that was huge for us and good to see all the kids together all year long. When we get to that first district game versus Far North, which went 3 rounds deep last year in the playoffs, should allow us to get comfortable in what we do, get the jitters out and make sure we can line up and play good football. This year, we just got to make sure that we play extremely hard. That's all I ask from the kids week in and week out. Give us everything that you got. Our slogan this year is all or nothing. Doesn't necessarily mean if we don't win it all, we didn't accomplish what we wanted to. It's just telling us, hey, when we come out there to play, leave it all out there on the field, right? So let's just come out there and give it our best every single week.
The Bulldogs are going to be have some great players, talented players that they can plug in this year. Max Alvarez at wide receiver, and then probably the biggest name that'll be maybe the top receiver in the Valley is Christian Echezarreta. Last year, over 800 yards receiving and 11 touchdowns. He's a speedster too, so he can return kicks as well. They'll look for big things from him. New face there at quarterback in Nathan Rocha, but he was the backup quarterback last year and also started on defense as a defensive back. So he's got that mindset of knowing how to recognize defenses because he's got so much experience from playing on the opposite side of the ball. So we'll see what Rocha can do under center for the Bulldogs. Looking at the Bobcats just briefly, they've going to have a new face at quarterback as well. They've got a junior and a sophomore that'll probably split time. Their top running back is Noel Serna, had about 500 yards and 7 TDs last year. So it should be a pretty evenly matched game. We look for good stuff from the Bulldogs and Bobcats coming up on Friday.
Yeah, and a nice little tidbit. Actually, Coach Shelby was the offensive coordinator at Vela, and along with their defensive coordinator, Ernie Alonso, they were both at Vela. So they're very familiar with the Bobcats. This should be a very competitive game.
Yeah, I expect it to be so, and it's a great way to start your year, a good non-district game with a classic rivalry between these two schools.
Well, there's your look at the 3 McAllen schools and the district. It's going to be a very competitive district. We'll find out how everything shakes up in the next couple weeks. But for Mark May, I'm Jake Berry. This has been the Sideline Show. Reminder that you can actually watch our games online on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/McAllen ISD or on our Facebook page also /McAllen ISD. Again, Mark May, Jake Berry, and we'll see you next week for the Sideline Show.